And once again, thank you so much, Frank, for the introduction and for bringing us together to share something in regards to repairing stuff. I'm wondering if all of you can hear me. Maybe if you guys can hear me, yeah, you could just give a thumbs up. Thank you, Mark. Well, my name is Mathew Lubari, and from South Sudan, as mentioned by Frank. So I've been living in Rhinocam refugee settlement for a couple of years, since 2016. But currently I'm connecting in from South Sudan, in Yei, particular, my hometown. I came recently, some months ago. So just trying to explore things back home after quite some time, missing home after when I went to Uganda due to instability within my country. But now I came back and to do something. But I work for Community Creativity for the moment, which is a refugee founded and led organization in Rhinocam. It started in 2019. And this was after identifying a gap in and maintenance of everyday items or hardware stuff. We realized that within the refugee settings or in the displacement settings, most of the services are geared towards life-saving activities. For example, food, shelter, medical assistance, others, but issues along repair and maintenance of our everyday items has been a challenge. So we thought twice and came together as a group of 3 young people, 2 male and 1 female. And then we formed ourselves to quickly organize ourselves and started practicing repair and as well doing trainings for the youths, our fellow youths within the camp. Yeah, that's allow me Repair Alliance, an international group of repairers organizations, which includes the Restart Project, the Repair Cafe Foundation in the Netherlands, the iFixit, and Fix It Clinic, all the way from the United States. So it brought together different advocates from the UK, from Germany, from the USA and the Netherlands to advocate for repair and maintenance of items, in particular electronic items. So why the International Repair Day was that it is aimed to promote the value and the importance of repairing stuff, hardware stuff, including the electronics and even non-electronics. But in 2017, when it was formed, the focus was more on electronic products. Why is to make the electronic products more durable and easier to repair, because we found out that some manufacturers, they tend to manufacture hardware items or electronic items in a way that it becomes hard for someone to open it and repair in case if it gets a damage or it gets a fault. Yeah. And then the second event took place in October 20th in 2018. The repair. So the second event, the second International Repair Day event, it was focusing more on the access to information and resources that are necessary to aid communities to repair, and as well while focusing on the durability and efficiency of those electronic items. But in Africa, the International Repair Day is not well known by many of us. So if you try like to ask someone about, hey, do you know about this day? Like, well, I never heard about it. Like the first time when we organized the event in Rhino Camp, that was in 2021, when we're trying to ask people to come and join the event, they never knew about what it is. Yeah, until we had to push up and try to explain it broader way, then they tend to understand it. So 2021, we hosted a mini event, which is called a repair cafe, from a repair cafe or a restart party in our center, and it attracted quite a number of people to visit and see what is happening on that day. In 2000, UNHCR was the guest, and local communities were able to come and join. So what about the status of the US in Africa? We find that in Africa, Africa is a big supplier of raw materials to countries outside Africa or even within Africa. Yeah. So you find that Africa has a lot of resources and minerals, and has rich minerals. We find out the resources in Africa, we Africans would not have that opportunity to utilize the resources that we have. Yeah. And most of the resources are sifted out of Africa to the global south. I mean, to countries like the European countries, to the UK, to Asia, and to other parts of the world. And then later in turn, quite a huge number of items are then imported to Africa. Africa and shoes that are being brought to Africa. You find that the items which are brought to Africa, sometimes the quality of those products are towards their end of life. And when they come to Africa, within a short period of time, those items tend not to work. And when they tend not to work, what is being done? You find that sometimes it's hard for people to repair them. Yeah. For example, in this picture in this picture around here, you realize that an example, like the items that are being taken out from Africa, and then countries from outside the world bringing those items to Africa here and ends up here as waste because they have not been managed. And this seems to be so much. And my question is, does Africa have a right to repair policy? And this is something that later on we could discuss and also hear from you as the listeners. So how is the e-waste being managed in Africa? You find it in Africa. And this is a case study, for example, in Uganda. Like this picture, it was taken from within the refugee camp and showing how electronic items that have been fault being discarded onto the ground, and quite a number of management ways in Africa, which includes the burning, throwing into pits, throwing onto the ground, shipping them, and as well a few being managed by waste dealers or waste recyclers and other type of waste management activities. A typical example in Uganda is that, at least in Uganda, each person generates about 7.3 kilograms of e-waste, but only 1.7 kilograms being recycled. And this is according to a report published by UNETA in 2019. So the challenge has been that, like, there's the increase in technology leads to increase in accessibility to electronic items. Like, for example, 70% of the items like phones being owned by people, and then 45% radios, 75% televisions, 3% computers, and this is according to a Uganda Bureau of Statistics report published in 2018. So the improper disposal of this e-waste poses threat to air being polluted, which leads to loss of fertility by those non-biodegradable items, because these electronic items, they don't degrade easily. Yeah. And this leads to increased risk of diseases such as chronic diseases such as cancers and etc. So if we look at this chart, we find out that a lot of waste being dumped just in open fields, like in gardens or around kitchen gardens, and then followed by dumping in pit holes, like people digging pit holes around and throw this waste inside. And then the burning follows, heaping, and there's a small proportion of this e-waste being recycled by the recyclers and other means. Yeah. And these recyclers can be like local recyclers. Some are not have not gone through formal education. So some did it through DIY methods, but some went through some bit of trainings. Yeah. And what have we done as community creativity for development? was that through the International Repair Day, we do quite a number of activities, for example, supporting of persons with disabilities, like repairing their items such as the their mode of movement, to aid in mode of movement, the repair of electronic items such as the radios, phones, among others. But also we held workshops on open tech trainings where we train the youths on how they can reuse some of the working parts, because waste is not as a waste, but it's a resource. So we try to extract some of the waste, some of the parts that are still working, and try to reuse it for certain in certain devices. Yeah, because we don't want to take them go into the landfill. But also during this international repair that we ensure we create awareness, like raising the awareness by sensitizing the communities on the benefits of repairing things. And one thing is how repair is better than recycling. Yeah, because we believe that if it's good to repair first before you recycle them, and it's as well repair as you repair them, the planet is being saved, because a lot of the earth has limited resources and the population is huge. So if we continue using the electronic items or the hardware stuff, and when they break out, we throw them, you find out getting other raw materials to manufacture the same products takes a lot of energy. Yeah. For example, drilling, transportation, and its production. So repair helps the from being exploited. Okay. And we also realize that through the repair activities, peace is being conflict affected areas. Because when people come together, they talk, they interact, that they tend to forget the bad memories and try to harmonize themselves by working together. So in also one of the open tech and innovation we do, like we decided to check in or look through those that are being and picking some components and try to come up with other products that can be used also. For example, making of the solar charger that are used, very important in refugee context, because many of the refugee settlements, for example, when we are brought access to electricity, it's something, a big problem. So charging a phone becomes a problem. But when a phone, when we manufacture or when we reuse some of the parts to make product out of e-waste, like a charger, it helps someone from charging a phone. But also building of solar lights or LED lights that someone can use at night and be able to see what is in the dark. But also we try to train people, or to train the youths, the refugee youths, on how they can use open tech, like by promoting programming, basic programming, like the Arduino, playing with the Arduino board, so that they can also know something on how to do programming. Yeah. But then on a local context, we also have in mind that when we repair things, people are able to, to communicate. For example, when we fix the phones of the community, of the refugees, they're able to stay in contact with the live ones, access information, by repairing the radios and including the mobile phones where they can able to access information online, but also their safety at night. This is through fixing their solar lamps, mobility by repairing their motorbikes, their bicycles to aid them to move from one location to another. Beauty and passion. This is through mending of clothes, but also focusing on youth empowerment and creation of greener jobs, because you find that skills are very important. And once you have a skill, someone can easily be able to do something that can earn a living. But also the reduction of carbon emission and protection of human health from chronic diseases. But at a broader way, or in a global perspective, repair is better than recycling. And repair teaches engineering. For example, when we open up things, we find out how a particular product works. So it gives us, or it gives the youth to have a broader understanding of how a particular hardware stuff works. Like if you, for example, if you open a printer and you look through, you find that you'll be able to know how it is being assembled and disassembled and how it really operates. And what has helped us through this journey in repair? We have been using tools inside a toolkit called the AscoTech toolkit. And the AscoTech toolkit, full, it means access to skills, open tech emergence case, which is very important, being used in displacement settings, and it comprises of quite a number of tools, ranging from mechanical tools, electronic repair tools, textile repair tools, but also programming tools like having a laptop inside and the Arduino kit inside, which can be used for teaching youths on basic programming skills. But also we've been using also tools from iFixit, which has been so much helpful in opening up items that has rare screws. And then these are some of the impression pictures from some of the beneficiaries that have benefited from the repair activities that we hold, the repair cafes. But the challenge is, throughout the journey, we have been encountering quite some challenges. And these challenges, it includes, but not limited to, infrastructure. We find out that the nature of infrastructure where we do our repairs has not been the standard infrastructure. Living in a dusty environment, which does not favor repair. When a screw falls down, you will not be able to find it sometimes. But also, another biggest challenge has been the supply chain, where the lack of spare parts and tools for repair. For example, the experience that we encountered when we were shipping repair tools from Sweden. There's a lot of challenges that including high taxes to ship these repair tools. The cost of shipment, it exceeds the amount of buying the toolkit. But also, we have also encountered the lack of support or initiatives to local initiatives to conduct community events that are aimed at promoting the repair. but also the resistance from community to give out their end of products or their items that are no longer working or that have reached end of life. Right? It is being so challenging because what they are expecting is to be compensated in order to give out the products that they already have. Yeah. But also, the other huge problem has been, the less focus on repair due to transformation from conflict damages to development. You find out most of the countries in Africa has been, from war damage or conflict damages. So it becomes not easy for them to focus on waste, which is something for sustainability, than focusing on other developmental aspects like infrastructural development. Yeah. So that has been a huge challenge, but also there has been lack of data or insufficient data on repair. Yeah. So like in the past couple of years, we have been introduced to a system online that is used for entering data, but this is at the global perspective being managed by or introduced by the Restart project. Yeah, but within the context of Africa, there is still that lack of or insufficient data on the amount of items being repaired versus the amount of items that has gone to e-waste. And then the lack of policies, including implementation of policies that are existing. For example, according to the Global e-waste Monitor 2020 report, only 13 countries out of the 54 countries in Africa had an e-waste policy. And a big number of countries still doesn't have e-waste policies. And those who have the policies could not even implement them. Yeah. And lack of recognition and repair being undermined as a skill for those people who have not gone for formal education or who are school dropouts. Or manuals that they can use to learn how to repair. And the other thing is also the lack of the private sectors or lack of facilities that are dealing in e-waste management, for example, in the refugee camps or in other places. So those are some of the challenges that have been encountered, but also there's one of the challenges, the lack of protective gears, lack of health and protective gears, which has also been a big challenge. Like in this picture here, you find the hands being exposed to this chemical, to this dye of the cartridge powder. The cartridge powder, which is so harmful. So you find that over time, handling this e-waste becomes a challenge because it still causes health-related issues when someone inhales the toxic materials out of them. And we have put some suggestions and some future plans that some of the challenges, can be solved, especially through formation of unions or forums. I have not yet being into a group, an African e-waste management forum, they haven't yet, being into it. I don't know if they are still, existing or not. So, and formation of such forum, it's very important because it helps upcoming or startups, e-waste management initiatives, which can come together, and then they can be able maybe to apply for support within their local countries, or getting support from outside their countries. But also recognition of these e-waste initiatives, or the e-waste management initiative, through publishing, sharing their content, and maybe making recommendations to them. As well, organizing community events that can be used to promote the repair culture locally. And then the need for more spaces to promote this repair, but also suggesting that repair can be introduced in schools as well, so that when young children grows up, they grow with the culture of knowing the importance of repairing things or repairing stuff. So what are we looking out to as community creativity for development? We're looking at developing an integrated e-waste system that can be used to collect data and educate communities at the same time, where it can be like a web-based and an application software that can be used to collect data, and as well someone can easily know e-waste points within a particular location and can be able to walk through there, and as well learn basics on how to maintain their electronics. But also we looked at the establishment of more repair cafe centers that can be used to promote the repair and can be operational on everyday basis, including having a van that can be used to a painted van that can be used to roam around and do mobile on-spot repair activities while passing information to communities. And these are some of the group photos. For example, this frame one is was taken in 2022 during the International Repair Day event in October last year. And the second frame is after a training for our third cohort participants on repair, and a mobile repair cafe was held. Then that photo was taken, it was also taken last year in December. And what we are doing currently is that we are also running a fundraising platform to also organize two events, one in Rhino-Camp refugee settlements in Uganda, and another one in Yei, South Sudan, and at also promoting the importance of repairing items while transferring skills to the youths. So I'll be holding workshops during that event, and we are currently doing a fundraising, and our fundraising requires the target is 4,000 euros, and so far we have raised up to 600 euros so far being raised, and an amount of 3,400 that is still needed to be raised in order for us to be able to support us to organize this event in October. So, and down is the crowdfunding link. So this year's theme is repair for everyone. And last year's theme of 2022 was repair everywhere. So on this year's event as a repair everywhere, and repair for everyone, we wanted to make sure that we are so inclusive by having these two events in the refugee settings where we are living, and as well back home, so that people, the refugee camp, and as well back in our home, be able also to get to know about this International Repair Day. But we also, last year, we managed to produce a video to create on what the Repair Day is and when does it happen. So, and the video was with support funds from the German government through agents. And these are some of the that have been supporting us throughout our journey of the repair activities that we have been doing, including the trainings. And this has been the team, the CC4D team, that are currently in the forefront, looking forward or advocating and training young people on the repair of stuff. And I will end by this phase that e-waste is a huge problem and it is getting worse. But the only solution or the only idea is of the circular economy. And this is, a model of production and consumption which involves sharing, renting, reusing, repurposing, or repairing and repurposing and recovering of existing material products as long as possible. And with that, this can enable us to stop as many electronic waste going to landfill at the very end as possible. And we cannot achieve this alone, but together we can fix the world and live in a sustainable world. Thank you so much. I would like to get questions from you people or from you, the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mathew. Thank you for the amazing presentation. Anyone has any comments, suggestions, questions for Mathew before we wrap up? Okay. It doesn't seem like there are any questions, so I would like to say a big thank you to Mathew for sharing your insights on the repair culture and the International Repair Day with us, and for your dedication to a brighter future and your commitment to making a difference, not only in Uganda, but also in Africa. So as we wrap up this call, let's continue to repair, to renew, and to reimagine, because together we are catalysts for a world that is not just repaired, but it is truly revitalized. So thank you all for joining us, and have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.